That was the moment I knew. Not when my ex-husband's mother called me for the third time that week asking for money. Not when my former sister-in-law showed up at my office expecting me to cover her spa day. Not even when I looked at my bank statement and saw $4,750 going out every single month to people who weren't even my family anymore. It was when my 7-year-old daughter Emma looked up at me with tears streaming down her face and asked, "Mommy, why doesn't Grandma Linda want us at Thanksgiving?" I stared at the text message still glowing on my phone. The words burned into my vision like they'd been branded there. "Jessica, about Thanksgiving at the lake house. We've decided to keep it adults only this year. The kids are just, well, you know how loud they get. We want a peaceful, elegant dinner. You understand, right? You can come, but leave Emma and Jake with a sitter." I understood perfectly. I understood that I'd been paying the mortgage on that lake house for 2 years. $2,800 every single month. I understood that the peaceful, elegant dinner was being funded by my paycheck. I understood that my children, my babies, weren't good enough to attend a holiday dinner at a house I was literally paying for. But let me back up. Because this story doesn't start with Thanksgiving. It starts 2 years earlier, in a lawyer's office, signing divorce papers while my mother-in-law sat in the corner dabbing her eyes with a handkerchief. My marriage to David ended the way most marriages end, slowly, then all at once. We'd grown apart. He wanted different things. The usual story. The divorce was amicable enough. We agreed on custody 50-50, alternating weeks. We split the assets fairly. What I didn't expect was that his family would expect me to keep being their family ATM. The first time it happened was 3 weeks after the divorce was finalized. Linda called me at work. "Jessica, honey," she said in that sweet voice that always preceded a request. "I hate to ask, but I'm in a bit of a bind. The medical bills from my procedure are more than I expected. Could you spot me just $800? Just until next month?" I should have said no. I should have reminded her that her son, my ex-husband, had a job and could help her. But Linda had always been kind to me during the marriage. She'd watched the kids when I needed help. She'd taught me her lasagna recipe. So I said yes. Of course, I said. Family helps family. Those words would come back to haunt me. The next month, it was David's sister, Rachel. She appeared at my office with a coffee and a smile. "Jess, God, it's so good to see you," she said, pulling me into a hug. "Listen, I know things are weird with you and David, but you and I are still cool, right?" "Of course," I said. "Great, because I'm starting this business, you remember? The lifestyle coaching thing I told you about? I just need a small loan to get it off the ground. $500. I'll pay you back in 3 months, I promise." I wrote her a check that afternoon. Then it was David himself. His car had broken down. Could I help with the repairs? Just $650. He was between paychecks. He'd pay me back. I paid. It became a pattern, a rhythm. Every few weeks, someone from David's family needed something. And every time, they'd preface it with, "I know we're not family anymore, but," or "I hate to ask, but you've always been so generous." My friend Melissa saw it before I did. We were having drinks one Thursday evening, and I was venting about how tight money was. "Wait," she interrupted. "You're saying you can barely afford Emma's dance classes, but you just paid for Rachel's business loan last week?" "It's complicated," I said. "No, Jess, it's not complicated. They're using you." She leaned forward, her voice gentle but firm. "You make good money. Where is it all going?" That night, I went home and did something I should have done months ago. I pulled up my bank statements and went through them line by line. The lake house mortgage, $2,800 per month. David had begged me to take over the payments after the divorce. "Just temporarily," he'd said. "The market's bad right now. We'll sell it soon." That was 18 months ago. David's car payment, $650 per month. Just until I get back on my feet. Rachel's business loan, $500 per month. I'll pay you back, I swear. Linda's medical bills, $800 per month. The insurance doesn't cover everything. Various credit cards that I'd stupidly added them to during the marriage. They'd racked up charges totaling another $1,200 that month. Restaurants, shopping, gas. I sat there staring at the screen. $5,950 per month. Over $71,000 per year. To people who weren't even my family anymore. I felt sick. But even then I didn't act. Because Linda had been kind to me once. Because David and I had children together. Because Rachel had thrown me a baby shower when I was pregnant with Emma. Because family helps family. The next few months blurred together. Rachel's business never took off, but she kept needing just a little more funding. David's temporary situation stretched on. Linda discovered new medical expenses every month. The credit card charges kept appearing. My kids started asking why we couldn't go on vacation like their friends. Why we couldn't get a new car when ours kept breaking down. Why I said no to so many things. We have to be careful with money right now, I'd tell them. Meanwhile, I was funding David's family's entire lifestyle. Then came the text about Thanksgiving. I need to tell you about the lake house, because that's important. It's this beautiful property up in the mountains, about 2 hours outside the city. 3 bedrooms, huge windows overlooking the water, a dock, a fire pit. David's parents bought it 30 years ago. It was supposed to be the family gathering place. When David's father died 5 years ago, Linda couldn't keep up with the mortgage on her pension. David and I offered to take it over. We saw it as an investment somewhere for the kids to make memories, somewhere we'd eventually retire to. After the divorce, David convinced me to keep paying. The kids love it there, he said. Don't you want them to have that place? We can figure out the paperwork later. Stupid, stupid, stupid. For 2 years, I'd paid that mortgage without question. Linda had hosted family gatherings there, gatherings that David attended with his new girlfriend, Brittany. Gatherings where Rachel brought her friends. Gatherings where I sometimes came, sometimes didn't, depending on my work schedule and whether I could handle the awkwardness. But my kids went to every single one. Emma and Jake loved that house. They had a whole drawer of toys there. They knew where the good rocks for skipping were. Jake had carved his initials in the dock when he was 5. And now Linda was telling me they weren't welcome. I read the text again. Adults only. Too loud. Peaceful and elegant. My children. Too loud. For Thanksgiving. At a house I was paying for. Something inside me cracked. Emma was still looking at me, waiting for an answer about why Grandma didn't want them at Thanksgiving. Honey, I said carefully, Grandma Linda is having a grown-ups only dinner this year. But why? Emma's face crumpled. Did we do something wrong? No, baby. You didn't do anything wrong. Jake and I are always good when we go to the lake house. We clean up our toys. We use our quiet voices inside. I know you do. This isn't about you. But Emma didn't understand. How could she? She was 7. In her world, Grandma was Grandma, and family gatherings included everyone. I pulled her onto my lap and held her while she cried. My 9-year-old son Jake came into the room, saw his sister crying, and immediately demanded to know what happened. Grandma doesn't want us at Thanksgiving, Emma sobbed into my shoulder. Jake's face went through several emotions: confusion, hurt, anger. That's not fair. That's our house too. We go there all the time. Out of the mouths of babes. That's our house too. Except it wasn't. It was Linda's house. That I paid for. That my children were now banned from. I tucked the kids into bed that night and went to my home office. I opened my laptop and pulled up my financial software. I'd been tracking every payment to David's family for the past 2 years, originally just to stay organized, but now I looked at the spreadsheet with fresh eyes. Lake House mortgage over 24 months, $67,200. David's car payments, $15,600. Rachel's business loans, $12,000. Linda's medical bills, $19,200. Credit card charges, roughly $28,800. Total, $142,800. $142,800. In 2 years. To people who had just told my children they weren't welcome at Thanksgiving. I opened a new browser tab and pulled up my bank's website. Then I started making changes. The lake house mortgage came out of my account automatically on the 1st of each month. I went into the auto-pay settings and canceled it. Effective immediately. David's car payment, same thing. Canceled. The credit cards they were on, I went to each website and removed them as authorized users. Every single one. I drafted an email to Rachel. Per our agreement, your business loan was to be paid back within 3 months. It's been 18 months. No further payments will be made. I drafted another email to Linda. I'll no longer be able to assist with medical expenses. Best of luck. Then I sat back and looked at what I'd done. My hands were shaking. Not from fear. From something else. Relief, maybe. Or power, or both. I picked up my phone and responded to Linda's text. Understood. If the kids aren't welcome, I'll need to reprioritize my finances. Effective immediately, I'm stopping all financial support. Hope you have a lovely adults-only Thanksgiving. I hit send before I could second-guess myself. The response came within 30 seconds. Jessica, don't be dramatic. We're family. I stared at that word. Family. I typed back. Check the divorce papers. We're not. Then I put my phone on Do Not Disturb and went to bed. I slept better than I had in 2 years. The next morning was a Friday. I woke up, made the kids breakfast, got them ready for school, and went to work like it was any other day. My phone was still on Do Not Disturb. I didn't check it until lunch. 47 missed calls, 32 text messages, 14 voicemails. I scrolled through them while eating my salad in my office. David, what the hell did you do? My car payment bounced. Call me now. Rachel. Jess, my card got declined at the salon. There's some mistake. Can you fix it? Linda. Jessica, we need to talk about this. You're being childish. Call me. David again. This is about the kids and Thanksgiving, isn't it? Mom said she'd include them. Just call off whatever this is. Rachel again. I have $400 worth of treatments half done and your card won't work. This is humiliating. Fix this. I deleted all of them without responding. I did, however, call my lawyer, the same one who'd handled my divorce. Elaine, I said when she answered. Quick question. Am I legally obligated to support my ex-husband's family financially? Not even a little bit, she said immediately. Why? Just confirming. That afternoon I drafted one final email. I sent it to David, Linda, and Rachel. For the past 2 years, I have voluntarily provided financial support totaling $142,800. This was never a legal obligation, and I am under no requirement to continue. Effective immediately, all support is ending. I will not be responding to calls, texts, or any other communication about this matter. My decision is final. I attached a spreadsheet showing every payment, every date, every amount. Then I sent it. 15 minutes later, my office phone rang. David. I let it go to voicemail. 3 minutes after that, the front desk called up. Jessica? There's a woman here demanding to see you. She says she's your mother-in-law? Former mother-in-law? Tell her I'm in a meeting. She's very insistent. Tell her I'm in a meeting and will not be available today. Linda left, but not before causing enough of a scene that my boss later asked if everything was okay. Family drama, I said. It's handled. That evening, I picked up the kids from after-school care. When we got home, there was a car in my driveway. David's. He was sitting on my front porch, and he looked furious. Kids, go inside and start on your homework, I said calmly. I'll be there in a minute. Emma and Jake scurried past their father, who barely acknowledged them. Once the door closed behind them, I turned to David. Leave. Not until we talk about this, he said, standing up. You can't just cut everyone off like that. Do you have any idea what you've done? I've stopped paying for people who aren't my responsibility. My mother depends on that money. Then you can help your mother. You have a job. You know I'm saving for. I don't care what you're saving for. My voice was level, calm. I have 2 children to support. Your family is not my problem. The lake house is in my mother's name. If she can't make the mortgage, she'll lose it. Then she'll lose it. His face went red. That's our family home. The kids who aren't welcome at Thanksgiving? I let that hang in the air. Those kids? That was just. Mom didn't mean it like that. She was just trying to have one adult evening. An adult evening that I was funding. I moved toward my front door. We're done here, David. You need to leave. Rachel is in tears. She had to leave the salon with her hair half done. Then Rachel should have used her own credit card. You're being vindictiva. No, I said, my hand on the doorknob. I'm being smart, something I should have done 2 years ago. I went inside and locked the door behind me. Through the window, I watched him stand there for another 5 minutes before finally getting in his car and leaving. That night, I sat down with Emma and Jake. Guys, I need to tell you something, I said. We're not going to Grandma Linda's for Thanksgiving. Emma's face fell. But you said. I know what I said. But we're going to have our own Thanksgiving this year, just the 3 of us. What about Grandma and Uncle David and Aunt Rachel? Jake asked. They're going to do their own thing, and we're going to do ours. I pulled them both close, and I think ours is going to be pretty great. Can we have mac and cheese? Emma asked hopefully. For Thanksgiving? You always make fancy food when we go to Grandma's. I like mac and cheese better. I laughed, actually laughed. Yeah, honey, we can have mac and cheese. The week before Thanksgiving was chaos. Not from me, I was strangely calm. But David's family was in full meltdown mode. The lake house situation came to a head on Monday. Linda called the mortgage company trying to explain that there'd been a misunderstanding with the automatic payment. They informed her that the account holder had canceled the authorization, and payment would need to come from her directly. She didn't have it. David tried to scramble to come up with the money, but couldn't. Not on short notice. The mortgage company started foreclosure proceedings. Linda showed up at my office again. This time, she made it past the front desk and cornered me in the hallway. How can you do this? She demanded, loud enough that several colleagues turned to stare. That house has been in our family for 30 years, and I've paid for it for 2, I said quietly. Find someone else. You're destroying this family. Your son destroyed our family when he filed for divorce. You're not my responsibility anymore, Linda. What about Emma and Jake? Don't you want them to have that house? That one hit me, but I stood firm. What I want is for Emma and Jake to have a mother who isn't bankrupting herself for people who don't even want them at Thanksgiving. I stepped around her toward my office. I'm done with this conversation. Security had to escort her out. It was mortifying and liberating in equal measure. Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, was when it all came together in the most spectacular way. David had planned to drive up to the lake house Wednesday afternoon with Brittany, his new girlfriend. His plan was to stop for gas on the way out of town. His card, the one I'd been paying, declined. He called me. I didn't answer. He texted, "My card isn't working. There's something wrong with the account." I responded, "That account is closed. Jessica, I'm on empty. I need gas to get to my mother's. Then use your own card. I don't have enough in my account right now." I didn't respond. Rachel's situation was even better. She'd booked an appointment at her favorite salon for Wednesday morning, the full works. Cut, color, blowout, manicure. She'd told them to charge the card on file. The card I'd removed her from. When they tried to run it, it declined. She called me from the salon, her voice shrill. "Jess, I'm literally sitting here with foils in my hair and they're saying the card isn't working. That's because you're not on that account anymore. You have to fix this. I can't leave like this. You'll figure it out." She ended up calling Linda, who didn't have enough to cover it either. Rachel had to borrow money from the receptionist, someone she barely knew, and pay her back the following week. The humiliation was apparently excruciating. But the absolute best moment, the one I'll remember forever, happened Wednesday evening. Linda had hired a contractor to do some repairs on the lake house before Thanksgiving. Apparently there was a leak in the roof and some water damage that needed immediate attention. She'd scheduled it for Wednesday afternoon, planning to pay with, you guessed it, one of my credit cards. The contractor called her around 4 p.m. to say he'd finished the work. "Great," Linda said. "Just run the card I gave you." Declined. She tried another card. Declined. She pulled out every card in her wallet. Every single one was either canceled or declined. The contractor was not amused. "Ma'am, I've done $5,000 worth of work. I need payment." Linda called me. I was at the grocery store with Emma and Jake, buying supplies for our own Thanksgiving. Marshmallows for sweet potatoes. Ingredients for Emma's requested mac and cheese. Pumpkin pie. My phone buzzed. "Linda." I declined the call. She called again. I declined again. Text message. "Jessica. The contractor is here and none of the cards are working. You need to call me right now." Me, not my problem. Linda. "This is an emergency. The house needs these repairs." Me. "Then pay for them yourself." Linda. "I don't have $5,000. Me, not my problem." I put my phone in my purse and kept shopping. The contractor eventually left, threatening to put a lien on the property. Linda had to scramble to borrow money from friends to pay him, which added a whole new layer of embarrassment to her week. Thanksgiving morning, I woke up to an email from David. "I hope you're happy," it read. "We had to cancel Thanksgiving at the lake house. The power was shut off because Mom couldn't pay the bill. She's humiliated. Rachel isn't speaking to either of us. And the kids are asking why we're not seeing you guys. This is all your fault." I read it once, then deleted it. My kids and I spent Thanksgiving Day in our pajamas until noon. We watched the parade on TV. We made mac and cheese and green bean casserole and sweet potatoes with marshmallows. Emma insisted on setting the table fancy with our nice dishes and napkins. We ate in the middle of the afternoon, just the three of us, and it was perfect. "Mom," Jake said through a mouthful of mac and cheese. "This is the best Thanksgiving ever." Emma nodded enthusiastically. "Can we do this every year?" "Yeah," I said, looking at my beautiful children. My happy children. My children who weren't spending the day wondering why they weren't good enough. "Yeah, we can." That evening, after the kids went to bed, I did something I'd been putting off. I opened my banking app and looked at my account. Without the monthly drain of David's family, I'd suddenly had an extra $5,950 in November. I set up a new savings account, college fund for Emma and Jake. I scheduled automatic transfers. Every month, that $5,950 would go straight into their future instead of into the pockets of people who'd excluded them from Thanksgiving. I sat there on my couch, in my quiet house, and I felt light. 2 months later, I got a notification that the lake house had been foreclosed on. David sent me a long, angry text about how I'd destroyed his family's legacy, how the kids would never forgive me, how I'd shown my true colors. I blocked his number. Rachel tried to friend me on social media with a message. "Hey, I know things have been weird, but I really miss you. Want to grab coffee?" I declined the request. Linda sent me a Christmas card. It said, "Despite everything, you're always family to us. Love, Linda." I threw it away. My friend Melissa took me out for drinks in January. "How are you feeling about everything?" she asked carefully. Honestly, I took a sip of my wine. I've never been better. No guilt? Not even a little. And I meant it. By the time February rolled around, I'd saved $11,900. That was more than I'd managed to save in the entire previous 2 years combined. Emma's dance classes? No problem. Jake's basketball league? Paid for without stress. A small vacation over spring break? Already booked. I even started thinking about buying a small place of our own, somewhere the kids could make memories. Nothing fancy, but ours. One Saturday in March, the kids and I were at the park. Emma was on the swings. Jake was playing basketball with some friends. I was sitting on a bench, drinking coffee from a travel mug, just watching them. A woman sat down next to me, another mom I recognized from school pickups. "Your kids always look so happy," she said. "They are," I said. And I realized, for the first time in years, so was I. People ask me sometimes if I regret it. If I regret cutting off David's family so completely, so abruptly. If I regret the way it happened. I don't. Here's what I learned. Love that requires you to set yourself on fire to keep others warm isn't love. It's manipulation. Family that excludes your children isn't family worth funding. Peace that costs you your financial security isn't peace. It's surrender. David's family taught me that I was only valuable as long as I was useful. As long as I was saying yes. As long as I was the ATM. The moment I became human, the moment I said my children matter more than your comfort, I became the enemy. So no, I don't regret it. Emma's in 3rd grade now. She's in advanced math and she wants to be a veterinarian. Her college fund has $35,700 in it. Jake's in 4th grade. He made the travel basketball team. His college fund has $35,700 too. In 18 months, I've saved more than I spent in 2 years on people who didn't even want my kids at Thanksgiving. Last month, David called me from a new number. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of me. "Hey," he said, his voice careful. "How are you?" "Fine. What do you need?" "I don't need anything. I wanted to say I'm sorry. For everything. For how things went down. For how my family treated you and the kids." I was quiet. "Linda finally admitted that the Thanksgiving thing was wrong," he continued. "She says she'd like to see Emma and Jake again. Make things right. Tell Linda thanks, but no thanks. Jess. We're doing fine without them, David. Better than fine. They're still the kids' family." "Family shows up," I said. "Family doesn't exclude children from holidays. Family doesn't use people as ATMs. Your mother taught me exactly what kind of family she is. She's willing to apologize. Good for her. I'm not willing to accept." I hung up. Emma walked into the room a few minutes later. "Who was that?" "Just someone from work," I lied. She shrugged and showed me a drawing she'd made. It was the three of us, her, Jake, and me standing in front of a house with a big yard and a tire swing. "What's this?" I asked. "Our new house," she said. "The one we're saving for." I'd mentioned it once, maybe twice, but she'd remembered. She'd imagined it. She'd made it real on paper. "It's perfect," I told her, and I meant it. Sometimes people tell me I was too harsh, that I should have given them a chance to make it right. That family is family, and you don't just cut people off. But those people didn't see the look on my daughter's face when she asked why Grandma didn't want her at Thanksgiving. Those people didn't pay $142,800 to people who thought an elegant adults-only dinner was more important than including children. Those people didn't lie awake at night wondering how they'd pay for dance classes while funding someone else's spa days. I did what I had to do. I protected my kids. I protected myself. And I'd do it again in a heartbeat. These days, when Emma and Jake ask about Grandma Linda and Aunt Rachel and Uncle David, I tell them the truth. Sometimes people aren't good for us, even if we love them. And it's okay to choose yourself and the people who matter most. They seem to understand. Kids are more resilient than we give them credit for. Last week, Emma came home from school with an assignment. She had to write about what she was grateful for. She wrote, "I'm grateful for my mom because she always takes care of us and makes sure we're happy, even when it's hard." I cried when I read it. Not sad tears. Happy ones. Because that 7-year-old girl who cried about not being welcome at Thanksgiving, she's thriving now. She's confident. She knows she's loved unconditionally, not because she's well-behaved enough, but because she exists. That's worth more than any lake house. That's worth more than any relationship with people who see you as a bank account. And that, right there, is why I'll never regret what I did. I smile when I think about that text message now. The one that started it all. Adults only Thanksgiving. The kids are too loud. They weren't too loud. They were just kids. Wonderful, messy, joyful kids who deserved better than conditional inclusion. And I was just a woman who'd finally had enough. Sometimes the best revenge isn't dramatic. It's not yelling or fighting or making a scene. Sometimes the best revenge is simply closing your wallet and walking away, and living well. Really, really well.